Well, here we are, live on Facebook again. Hi everyone, it's Miss Jen with the Community Arts Center. We are keeping the arts alive in Corona craziness, and tonight we have a drawing and painting, watercolor painting class for elementary age kids. Now, if you're not elementary age but still want to hang out and maybe paint a little, draw a little, and just enjoy time being with other people, hearing other voices, interacting, then please feel free to stick around. You don't have to be an elementary age kid to come and hang out with us. So we're gonna have about 5 minutes here while everybody's logging in and joining us. And then we'll get started on some drawing, and I'll be retelling the story that Ann Kelly, I'll be retelling the story that Ann Kelly read. The book is a children's book called Ish, and hopefully I'll be able to talk better by the time we get this rolling than what I'm able to do right now. Oh, I see my friend Carol Douglas is here. Hi, Carol. And Jan's here too. Hi, Jan. I'm glad you're here. Oh, this is going to be some fun. So anyway, I'll be checking Facebook over here on my computer from time to time and replying, because it's really hard to see the little tiny letters on my phone up here. It's much easier to read over here. And of course, once we get started, the glasses have to go because I can't see up close even with my bifocals. So the supplies that you're going to need, I have a Hot Wheels Ferrari. Those of you that know me understand this. Was sitting on my desk. You're going to need some white paper to draw on. Couple sheets. If you have any watercolor paper for what we're going to do for our project, that would be most helpful. But if all you have is white paper, then grab it. You'll need a pen or a marker. I'm going to use Sharpies just because they're going to show up better for you guys. A pencil. You're going to need a rag, because when you're doing watercolor, you need a rag or paper towel, whichever. I have both. Container of water. Maybe not as well painted as this one is, but this thing has been with me for a long time. A variety of paintbrushes. I don't know what we're going to use because I don't know what you're going to draw. And some watercolors. If you have acrylics instead of watercolors, we can do that. Just water your acrylics down a little bit. This is not going to be the masterpiece of all masterpieces, but we're going to learn the importance of details. Hi, Donna. Donna Housel's here too. Nice to see you here. And Carol says, hi, Missy. I'm a little missy, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, if you have praying watercolors, that's fine too. So I'm going to get my computer going over here, and then we'll start in just a minute or two. Ignore the back of my head. Heavens to murder. Oh. Look, Art Kitty's here. Art Kitty ignores me until I get painting water out. And then, this is what she does. Look at the camera. She's a pretty cat. She doesn't really like people a whole lot. When we want her to leave us alone, we pet her and she goes away. Someday I'm going to have a cuddle kitty. Someday. All right. Now the computer is set. Oh, cattails. She's like, where do I go? Ah. All I did was pet her on the backside. She went away. Okay. So those of you that have just joined, my name is Jen. I'm the, what am I? I'm the education coordinator, and the sound's on my computer. Uno momento. Okay. I'll get us going here in a little bit. I don't think we have any kids joining us tonight. I may shift gears a little bit if we end up with no kids joining in, but for the most part, what I'm going to teach will translate to kids or adults. Okay. So, in all of this corona craziness, you guys are up too high. Just a second. Oh, there, that's better. I felt like I was craning my neck. During all of this and closing down the art center and working at home in my basement, in my studio, this is the good stuff for me. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm an extrovert, so not being around people is driving me mad. I need hugs bad. So when Governor Wolf says, okay, y'all can go out and hug, watch out. I'm going to be like the Tasmanian devil, just roaring up to people and hugging them and running off. So, sorry, there's a little something on my phone. So, one thing that happened that I was not expecting was my confidence took a nosedive. Like, I don't know, I guess because I didn't have my office to operate out of, I felt like it just wasn't all there. And so when I talked with Ann Kelly, who owns Young Hearts Books in Westmont, it is the sweetest little bookstore. You guys, if there's any books that you need, call Ann at Young Hearts Books. She's got a Facebook page and all the contact information is there. And she can order it and then you can come by and pick it up. If you live outside of Johnstown and want me to go pick it up, I'm happy to do that. I go up to Westmont a couple times a week. So that's not a big deal to me. But she reads these books each week for us. And they're children's books that have an arts theme. And 1 week she read the book Windows. And it's a story about what you see when you walk by homes and you look in their windows. So we did a painting on that. It was just a paint along for anybody that wanted to join in. And but this week, the book was called Ish. And those of you that do artwork are going to understand this completely. The little boy's name escapes me. But he's trying to draw a vase with flowers in it. And he draws, and he looks at it, and he can't stand it, and he wads it up, and he throws it. And then he draws some more, he wads it up, he throws it. And sometimes they hit the trash can, and sometimes they just land on the floor. Well, he was doing this, and his sister, his little sister, came in, and she picked up his paintings and ran away, or his drawings and ran away with them. And so he ran after her to get his trash, his drawings that he didn't want, back from her. I know, that's a stretch in a house with siblings. And he went into his room, and she had been taking his drawings that he had thrown away and flattening them out and taping them to his wall or her wall. And when he asked her about it, she said, well, this is a vase-ish. These are flowers-ish. And so your artwork might not be exactly where you want it to be, but if you're progressing and people can recognize it for what you're trying to do, then have some confidence in yourself and keep growing and keep learning and keep adding into what you're doing. So that brings us to tonight's lesson. I see Sarah Berkebile is here. Hey, darling, how are you? I miss you so much. Sarah is one of my volunteers at the Art Center. She comes in, or she used to back when we had normal life. She would come in one afternoon a week and do whatever I needed her to do, bless her heart. Sometimes it was toning the backgrounds of paintings. Sometimes, mostly it was putting away craft supplies or cutting out pieces for projects that we had coming up for classes. So, hi Sarah. She's amazing. All right. I'm gonna skip. Aw, she said hi back. I was gonna have the kids do a lion's head. We're gonna skip that. And we're gonna go right into drawing. The cat's on my desk again. Okay. So, let me bring this up. This is my drawing. Are you proud of me? Of me? I'm a drawer. And above it, I have the words. It's going to be backwards for you. It's complicated. Now, I read a book one time on things that are complicated. And things are only complicated when you're new to doing them or you don't understand. So the way to get past things feeling like they're complicated or too hard for you is to practice and do it again and again and again. I learned how to play the piano. And in the beginning, it was one finger. And then after each year, I progressed further and further. Now, that's been a few years ago. Not much piano playing left in these fingers. But I still like to plunk around on the keyboard. It was very complicated at first. And if you had set a piece in front of me that was something that I was playing 8 years after I started piano lessons, there would have been no way. It would have been too complicated for me. But breaking it down step by step and making it less complicated through practice is what learning how to do something is all about. All right, I'm tired of talking. Let's draw. So I'm going to move my camera down so you can see this because we're going to go further than this. So get paper and pen and let's do some drawing. And this is, I'm going to try to do this. This worked for the preschoolers this afternoon, but I'm going to try and do an over-the-shoulder drawing this way. And now I'm waiting for Facebook to catch up with me to see if I turn it upside down for you. Oh, that's much better. Okay. So, you know, I'm learning on this whole how to do things on Facebook Live. This is about my 15th video and my 10th live feed, and I'm still trying to figure it out. So, oh, this is going to work. You guys are going to come over here. Yay! So now you're just over my shoulder. Hi, everyone. All right. But now you can see the junky part of my desk. Okay, so obviously this is a house. I drew a square and a triangle. This is something that every kindergartner and first grader can do. And it looks like that. But with practice, we figure out that if we add more onto the house, oh, this is not the world's best house, people. If we add more onto the house, it looks more and more realistic like a house. Now, this is not ever going to be a realistic drawing, but it's going to get my point across. The more we put details in, the more confidence the person has in us that's viewing our artwork. So I'm going to do some little shaky shingles kind of things here. And it takes a little bit of time, but it makes it look more realistic. So if you have this much drawn, then let's fill in this part of the roof with shingles. And wherever it goes up to the tip of the roof line, that's where you're going to want to put your next loops. So the loops are alternating. Oh, we have some more people. Hey, Heather, I'm glad you're with us. Are the kiddos with us too? Would love to have, oh gosh, I hate it when the names are gone. Mason, and I just was looking at pictures from camp and thinking about you guys. Dominic, there you go. Okay, so these are not, I'm too busy talking, and I am not doing a good job with making sure they're even. So I'm sorry, this is looking pretty messy. Ooh, Neelam Malhotra's with us too. Hi Neelam, thanks for joining us. I tell you what, people, I absolutely love doing these video classes. I just wish that I could hear your voices. Speaking of which, Thursday night, I have a Zoom class, and I'm going to be showing colored pencil techniques. Colored pencil is kind of my lifelong love affair. And so all you need is some colored pencils and an adult coloring book. And we're just going to learn some different techniques. If you have baby oil and a Q-tip, that would be cool also. But if you don't, you're still going to learn about how to take your basic coloring book page and make it even fabulous. Even more fabulous. That's this Thursday. If you're interested in doing that, go to the Art Center's website, which is caccc.org, and go to the Art Education tab, and there's a place where you can register for this, and then I will send you the Zoom connection. And all you need for Zoom is a computer or a smartphone. It's pretty easy peasy. And yeah, we're going to be doing some color pencil stuff. And I'll be able to see faces and hear voices. So, and it is for kids or adults. All right, that commercial's over. Now I got to get back to my roof here. I promise I can draw. I'm just not being able to focus. When I'm really into making drawings, I have to be by myself, out of the way. And by the way, I am at home, and I have a house full of people that live with me. So if you hear crazy noises coming from my house, that would be the family. And they live in this house too, and it's not really fair for me to expect them to be completely quiet when I'm trying to do a video. So we kind of got over the whole let's be quiet. All right, so now our roof looks a whole lot more like a roof, kind of, but yeah. It's the hardest thing to not be negative about your own drawings. All right, so now no one can get in or out of this house, and they can't see outside from inside. So let's put a door. Little door handle. Don't forget the door handle. And a window. Now, I'm just going to do a good old-fashioned 4-pane window here on this. And I think on my door, I'm going to put a little arch on it. That will go along with the upside down arches on our roof. So just adding the detail of the lines there will make a huge difference. All right, now we're going to put some siding on this house. And if you need a ruler to draw a straight line like I do, that's fine. I'm not going to for purposes tonight because it'll get in the way too much. So I'm just going to do light lines with my Sharpie here, because the siding is a little lighter than all of the other edges. And do you see how I'm going across that window but not touching my siding's not real even. That's where I'm drawing through to make it look like it actually goes across, like it's the same piece. All right, and then this side also. These lines are pretty darn crooked. If I wanted to do this realistically, I would probably have some dark graph paper underneath my paper so that I could see those lines. Okay, now it's a lot more interesting now than it was when it was just a square and a triangle. So now I'm going to add a little line right here that makes it look like this section of the house goes in a little bit. I keep moving that down too far. And I'm also going to put one of those big old-fashioned circular windows, and I'm going to put an extra little line right there to give it some depth perception also. And on my window down here, we'll do the same thing. So now, if I'd picked this up and said, we're going to draw this, just do it, let's go. But walking you through step by step helps you understand, and it takes away from it's complicated, because we're learning how to do it step by step. All right. So now if you want to do something crazy, like add a tree, it doesn't have to be anything. This is more along the lines of a children's book illustration, isn't it? And that's okay. All right, so now I'm going to take you through step by step doing a drawing that we're going to be painting. And I don't know if you've heard of Zentangle, but this is going to kind of be Zentangle-y. So I wrote down my steps here. I'm going to set it out where I can see it. All right. If we were in a classroom, I'd be saying put your name on the back, but we're not, so. Lindsay Horner's here. Hi, Miss Lindsay. Hey, Mason and Dom, Lindsay's here. Okay, the locust sacks are here, Lindsay. All right, so I want you to get a piece of paper. If you have watercolor paper, this is the time to use it. If all you have is copier paper, then let's use it. So the first thing I want you to do is to think of your piece of paper in 3 strips. 1, 2, 3. In fact, I'm going to take my pencil and put lines on it that kind of divides it into thirds. I don't know if you can see those little lines or not, but there they are nonetheless. All right, now I want you to draw a ground line, and it doesn't have to be straight, and I'll show you what, I'll do a crazy line, but I want you to do a line down here at this bottom of the third. Ooh, that sounds like a baseball game. All right. You can do any kind of line you want. You know what? I'm going to switch gears and do this in Sharpie so you can see it even better. Now I'm trying to hit my pencil lines, and I'm not real good at doing that. All right. So this is our first line. Next, I want you to draw another ground line right about the middle of the page, somewhere in here. And it doesn't have to be straight either. So I'm going to do mine kind of crazy like that. Did I tell you we're doing a landscape painting? Doesn't look like any landscape I've ever seen. I'm going to get rid of my little pencil lines here because they drive me crazy. Okay. Now I want you to do a third line. And I want it to be right about that third line that, that I had you draw. So I'm just going to do a straight line here, but you don't have to. I just want a straight line. All right. Now, so we have our first ground line, our second ground line, and our third ground line. And so this one is our horizon. Now, I want you to make some mountains up here. And all mountains are zigzag lines. They don't have to have any big rules other than they're zigzaggy. So this one's going up and up. Have any of you ever been to the Rocky Mountains out in Colorado? I love the Rocky Mountains. Love, love, love them. All right, so now we have our first ground line, our second ground line, and our third ground line. That's the horizon line. And then we have mountains. And now I want you to draw part of a circle for our sunshine. And if it's not perfectly round, no one cares. And then from the top of the sunshine, let's make some lines coming out. We're not going for realism on this one. So it's okie dokie. And if you want your sun rays to be wavy, that's okay too. Because sometimes when the sun's shining, it looks all wavy from the heat. All right. Hey, it's starting to look like a landscape, isn't it? All right. So now we have all of this space down here. And what should we put down there? Do we want a river coming over here? Or we could put some rocks? Oh, I like big rocks. I was out in the woods today behind our house, and I found these huge rocks that I'd never seen before. Like, big enough for 10 people to sit on, big rocks. Oh, it was so awesome. I'm going to put some rocks down here. If you want to put some trees down here, you can put trees or flowers, whatever you want to do, but I'm going to make some rocks. Some big old fat sit on them rocks. And if you make the base of the rock flatter than rounder, then it looks like it's sitting in the dirt, doesn't it? And oh, I don't want this rock to be lonely, so I'm going to put some other rocks here with it too. And I like the idea of some water, so I'm going to put a little stream coming down here. So now I've got rocks and a stream, crazy ground stuff going on here, mountains, sun, and sunbursts. If I go too fast, somebody message me and tell me I'm going too fast and I'll slow down. But I don't want to go too slow because that would be boring. All right. I think I need some rocks over here too. You know, I think I'm going to put a path. And we'll put a rock here and a rock there. Now, this doesn't look like that little house that I started with that was the square with the triangle on top. But there's not a lot of detail in there, is there? So Zentangle is an art form, and I didn't draw this, but I just can't get to the ones that I drew, where there's all kinds of designs inside designs. So you can see the flowers, how every petal, there's extra drawings right in front. And then it goes and it goes and it goes. And that takes a lot of time and a lot of work. But it's worth it when you end up with something that has a lot of details like this does. All right, so let's start with something small. Let's start up here with our sunshine. That's a pretty small area for us to do. So I want you to decide on, I can't talk with you, and well, I can talk, but I can't hear you. So this is what I'm going to say. I want you to fill up the sunshine with little circles. Just like that. And they can be different sizes. Let me do a couple more, and then I'll hold this up so you can see it even better. So we're going to fill it up completely, just making circles. I'm guessing everybody knows how to make circles. Some of them can be teeny tiny, and some of them can be great big. Some of them might, like this one, start off the edge, so it's not a complete circle in there, it's just a half circle. That's okay to do also. And sometimes you can have a big circle with little circles inside of it. And when you're doing things like this, it's a way to keep your hands busy while you're doing something like watching a movie. Or I love to listen to audiobooks, and I do a lot of artwork while I'm listening to audiobooks. Especially when I'm doing things like this that don't take a lot of concentration. It just takes a little bit of time. I've been binge watching MasterChef with Gordon Ramsay. I wish I wasn't, but I am. I love cooking competitions. I don't really care to cook all that much. I'm not very good because I lose track of things, of details, and I forget about, you know, something's in the oven, and I burn a lot of food. So, but I do love watching cooking competitions or crafting competitions. So look at how cool that is starting to look with all of those little circles in there. And it's really going pretty fast. Sorry for getting my head in there. Sarah says she used to make extremely detailed Zentangles in math class on Post-it notes when she was bored. Oh, Sarah. Oh, yeah. I discovered Zentangle when I was taking a, oh, I'm blocking it out, a college class on accounting. I can't stand math. And so I would, yeah, draw and draw all kinds of Zentangle things in my notes. And actually, that was one of the ways that people started encouraging me to go further with my artwork, was they would see my notes from class and tell me, you know, you should make a drawing out of that. You should do a painting out of that. So yeah, accounting is not my thing, but I had to take it for my major, so I did. Does anybody else use drawing to get them through a boring experience or an experience that you're having trouble concentrating on? Okay, I'm going to try and finish up my sun. My sun was bigger than I thought it was. All right, my sun is done. And now, if you look at this page, we've got several different areas that we have places divided up. And you can do a different shape inside each. I have several of my favorite shapes. I'm going to switch to my big fat marker and make my lines a little bigger so I have smaller spaces. Where am I? Smaller spaces to fill. Because it's way more fun to fill in small spaces. It takes a long time to fill in big spaces. So I'm just dividing up my mountains so there are smaller areas to fill in. And now I'm going to make my horizon line big and fat too. You don't have to do this step. I'm doing it so it makes it easier for you to learn what I'm talking about. Okay, back to the skinny one. Here's one of my favorites. You make a half a circle, and then you draw another half a circle, 3, 4 half circles. And then you turn your paper around and you do it again here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do that all through this one mountain. Let's see, I'm going to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you look at this one, it's down on the ground level, so they don't have to all be going the same direction. I've got a little blank space right there that I'm going to fill in real quick from the other direction. There. Okay, now for the peak, I'm going to do so it comes down. Just because I like it to look that way. 3 and 4. So if you can count to 4 and draw half a circle, then you can do this. And we're just going to fill up the whole mountain. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I have to count every time for you, or can you count yourselves? In my head, I have to count to 4 every time just so I can keep track of it. Carol Douglas says, I drew little flowers, boxes, geometric shapes in the margins on my notes when the teachers had to explain something that I already understood. Still do it when I'm bored. Yeah, you know, I went back to college when I was 50 years old. I know. You're shocked that I am actually older than 50. Anyway, and my mom came to visit me, and I showed her some of my notes, and my dad wanted to see them too because he understood accounting. And my mom started laughing, and she said that I had doodled my way through high school, and now I was doodling my way through college at 50. So it's how I do life. A lot of people do it. I have a lady who wants to teach a class at the Art Center on doodle art. And I don't know if any of you got to see the Pasanki eggs that we had at the Art Center before we had to close down. But she does this kind of intricate, teeny tiny work on eggs. It's unreal. So you might be watching for that if we ever get to have classes again, or maybe she'll teach a Zoom class. If any of you have any input on if Zoom classes would work for you or for your kids, please either send me an email or just put it in the comments on this video, because we really want to figure out how we can keep reaching into the community with art and keep adults and kids engaged with art during all of this craziness where we can't be around people. So I would love your input on that. All right, one mountain done. Now I'm going to shift gears and come down here to the river, because not every area has to be filled with little tiny strokes. If we look at this drawing, look at this lady's hair. It's all bunches of straight line, or not straight lines, curvy lines. So I think that's what I'm going to do with my river. The first thing I'm going to do is create a river bank. So I'm going to make a big fat line here. And then I'm going to do another line. So it looks like the river has a place where it won't go higher than and flood this grassy place. All right. And it's not exactly perfectly the same width because nature isn't perfect in something like a riverbank. All right, so now to make this look like it goes up and down, I'm just going to take my pen and do straight lines all the way across. Just like that. And if they don't go all the way from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top, that's okay, because the idea is just to make it a different texture than what we're doing with the water. Try to keep them going straight up and down though, because then that says you did it intentionally, on purpose. And your lines can be further apart in some places and closer together in other places. Like I think the sunshine would be hitting this area, so it's going to be a little lighter, but maybe right here is in the shadow, so my lines are closer together to make it darker. So even with this, we can be shading. All right, so I've got my riverbank done. Now I'm going to just make wavy lines through here. And they don't have to be, they can cross over each other. And some can be closer and some can be further apart. Now, if I was coloring that with colored pencil, I would spend days trying to do this part right here. Days, I'm telling you. And I would be so happy the whole time. I love getting into the little details. All right. Oh, you know what? We're just blowing through this time. I had said for an hour, but I think this is going to take us an hour and a half because we've got a lot of drawing to do. But we'll draw for 10 more minutes, and then we'll get the watercolors out and do the watercolor. After it dries, then you can go back in and finish filling in all of the little lines. But let's do another line here on these rocks. I think, yes. So I'm going to draw straight lines. And I usually choose a number for these just to keep track of what I'm doing. And then I'm going to do straight lines in another direction. And maybe this way. And I'm doing 3 lines right now just because I want to. Let's see. So, just by doing straight lines, then we end up with a cool design. And it is more than okay to turn your paper every which way. And the lines don't have to go from top to bottom. I don't know if you can hear my guys up there. They're talking about some Marvel movie, I'm sure. Just being goofy men. Because that's what we do at my house. All right. So I've got part of that rock done. And if you want to, you could leave part of it undone because then it looks like this is in the shadow part and this is not. I kind of like that idea. All right. Oh, let's do a few here. Okay. So now we have rocks. Oh, Jean Thompson and Ann Kelly are joining us. So the thing that I love about this style of drawing is that you can get so much confidence because really it's simple in its complexity. There you go. It's my philosophical thought for the day. It's a very simple drawing, but as you add little bit by little bit, then it becomes very complex. And the reason that the coloring book pages with this kind of artwork are so popular is because you get so much confidence from doing this kind of stuff. It's just amazing to me. All right, so I am going to do a big pattern in this area across here. I am going to, the hardest part is deciding what pattern you're going to use. I think I'm going to do this. I'm just going to draw a line and just keep going. Not sure I'm in love with this, but I'm going to stick with it. Not my favorite design, I'm going to tell you. Just not my favorite. All right, but it's an area that's done. And what I can do is go in and then in each of these stripes, do another design inside of it. Let me show you one of my favorite designs to do inside a stripe. I do 1, 2, circle, 1, 2, circle, 1, 2, circle, 1, 2, circle. Okay, so I'm sure you can hear somebody has decided to take a shower. And my studio is right under the shower. So, but there is a little sub-design inside that all it is 2 lines in a circle. All right. So I am ready to paint. We're right at 7 o'clock. And I want to show you a little bit of watercolor technique, and then after it dries, I think you've learned enough about how to do this that then you can fill in all the different areas. And if you can't come up with a shape, for crying out loud, Google Zentangle patterns. There are people that have created amazing patterns, and they break it down and show you how to do it step by step. So, or get out a coloring book and look at different designs that an artist has used for that. Okay, so I'm going to get the watercolors out. Watercolors are great because they're so fast. So the first thing you do when you get your watercolors is you get them wet. Whether it is praying or whatever, which I wet most of these down. Sad fact, my good watercolors are on my desk at the Art Center. Someday I'll be reunited with them, I'm sure. So, where's my paper? The best thing that you can do when you get watercolors is to make a chart. Let's see, I think I actually have a chart that I did when I got, oh, here we go. When I got my core watercolor set, which is a pretty nice one. I wanted to compare my cores to my De La Rowney's and see how more heavily one was pigmented than the other. So I just kind of made a swatch, and there you have it. I ended up with the color chart. So, and then there's my mixing chart. So when you get watercolors, just so you know what you're doing, the best thing to do is to take a little bit and see what it looks like, and take it over a black line so you can see whether it's transparent or opaque. If you can see the line easily through it, it's translucent, actually, is the word I'm looking at. Or, let's see, I think this one here is pretty opaque. Nope. Oh, I know which one is opaque. Yellow ochre. So if you look at the yellow ochre over here, it's a little harder to see the line through it than the yellow or this green. All right, so my watercolors are all wet down so that when I put my paintbrush in the watercolor, I don't have to dig around in it a lot to get it to get color on my paintbrush. By the way, when you paint with the paintbrush, you hold it either like this. This is a really long paintbrush. Let me get one that's a little shorter. Like this, and wipe, or you hold it with a pencil grip and wipe. Never press your paintbrush down like that. Let me see if you can. There we go. Because then this metal part cuts into these little bristles, and pretty soon they break off, or you end up with a paintbrush that is all frayed out, like, let's see, like this one is. I don't know if we're going to be able to see this one. It's about the same color as my skin. So be gentle with your paintbrushes, take care of them, and they'll last a long time. After you rinse them off, wipe them on your rag and set them down. And then when you're done painting, make sure you rinse them out really, really well. Well. Okay. Now, if we were doing a real watercolor class, we would tape this down onto a painting board and get all fancy schmancy, but we're not going to do that tonight. I'm trying to decide. I'm going to start here with the sun. And I'm just with a wet brush, I'm going to get one little area wet. Just like we were doing small areas with our drawings, in our painting, we're just going to do a small area. So I'm just getting that one little area wet. Then, Then I'm going to do some of this bright orangey yellow. This is an opaque paint. You can't see through it very well. I didn't get enough paint on there. That looks kind of pink, and this is a really bright orange. And that area is done. Now I could go in there and rub and push and rub and push, and it would just break my paper, and then my painting wouldn't look very good. So watercolor is just about water and a light stroke. All right, now I'm doing another sun, but I'm not doing the one right next to that orange, because if I do, oh, I had blue paint on the end of my paintbrush. Just a second. If I came right in here, then that orange would leak over into whatever color I'm putting there. So I'm coming to this one that's not touching the other area, and I'm going to put a bright yellow in here. And I went over my line, and I don't think anybody cares. There you go. The yellow's done. See how fast that is? Now, I'm going to get this sun where we have all of these little tiny circles. Oh, hi Sherry. Nice to see you again. And I'm going to put, because I'm doing a kind of a sunset sun, I just tapped some red in there. And do you see what's happening? Look at that. That's what happens when you do colors next to each other. They bleed, but I wanted that to happen, so I'm okay with it. Now I'm going to take some of this yellow and tap some of the yellow in here. And it can just kind of mix around with everything. And then this cool orange. So I'm not even brushing this at all. I'm letting the paint do all the work. Now, there is a way to speed up the drawing, and that is a blow dryer. I could put a blow dryer on this and dry it, and then go on to other areas. But that's really noisy for what we're doing tonight, so I'm not going to. All right. So next I'm going to show you how to do a wash. And I'm going to use this brush that's just a little bit bigger. It's about a 1/2 inch wide. And I'm going to do this area right in here. It's kind of far away. And so first I'm going to get it wet so it doesn't look like I'm really doing anything, but I'm dipping in my water. I'm just trying to get this to where it's, there we go. Ah, now I went too far. Oh, for crying in a bucket. Okay, so I'm just putting plain water on here, and I'm following the lines of my ground line here. And since this is further away, and things that are further away aren't as bright as things that are close, I'm going to use some of this color right here that's kind of a greenish bluish. And I'm mixing it together. Oh, it's getting pretty dark, really. All right. And then I'm going to just brush the whole way across. That's called a wash. When it's wet and I'm putting color on it, it's not very dark, but that's okay. I don't really want it to be. All right. I think I'm going to add just a little more right up in the shadows of those mountains, so it looks like they're making shadows on the plains here. And I'm just barely touching the paper. You don't have to press extra hard for watercolor. All right, and if it starts getting too dry, just add a little more water. Keep on going. All right, so now I want to do the water because I love water. And I think this is going to be really bright, crystal clear water. And I'm going to use a phthalo blue. It's a really vibrant blue. This color looks really neat when you put green with it. It turns one of the most beautiful turquoises that I know of. So this one, I'm leaving the paper dry. and putting wet paint on dry paper, so it's a little brighter than what this wash was up here. Now here's a crazy thing that you can do to add texture. You can take your rag or your paper towel, wad it up good, and just kind of pound it into your paper. I don't know if my green up there is dry enough yet. It's really subtle, but there's more light and dark areas, like when you're looking down at water and it's reflecting up off the water. That's a pretty cool technique. All right, I'm going to do these rocks, and here's the best gray for rocks. It's blue and burnt sienna. And when you mix those together, sometimes you have to work at it a little bit to get the right color. It makes a really pretty dark brown into gray. And when you think about it in nature, a lot of things that are gray is really made up of browns. All right. So there's our gray using ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. So the lines that we drew on that just really added to the texture and shading of our watercolor. And I'm just coming in and adding a little extra gray right where those lines are, just because it was fun. And then I've got these little rocks over here. All right. So now, mountains. You know, a lot of people that haven't ever seen the mountains don't understand the Purple Mountain's majesty. But if you've ever been out to the Rocky Mountains, which I have, when you can first see them, and you're still a couple hours away from them, but you can see them on the horizon line, they really are purple, but it's more of a gray purple. So I'm going to take this gray that I made for the rocks, and I'm just going to add a little bit of my magenta into it. Ooh, that's really strong. Now, it looks really dark, but when I put it in my brush with some water and put it on, oh dear, that wasn't dry. It turns out to be a nice light purple. Now, I want for there to be a snow cap, so I'm just going to take my rag, press on it, and it took the paint off of that mountain. There you go. All right, now I'm going to do some more mountains. I'm going to try to be careful and not get to the edges of these shapes to avoid my colors mixing. And I'm just barely tapping in a little bit of color on this so it's nice and light. And, you know, mountains are just made up of rocks and trees and things. So, they're kind of mottled. They're not one solid color. And I just used my paper towel to take a little bit of that moisture off since we're trying to paint fast. All right, now I'm going to do another one, and this one is a little further behind, so we're going to have to make this one a little darker because things that are further away are lighter than things that are closer. The closer things are, the more vibrant or dark their colors are. So let's add, ooh, that's a nice dark blue. I kind of like that color. Now, if in your world you want your mountains to be green because you live in Pennsylvania and the mountains are really green and lush trees here, we can do that. Oh, we need more yellow on that. There we go. We've got some green mountains over here now. We'll do this one green too. But if you want pink mountains or whatever color, when you're the one that's doing the drawing, you get to make them whatever color you want. All right. So that is some of the things that you can do with watercolor. All right. So take some time when you're not trying to watch a video and do everything that I'm doing and make a painting and finish it. I'm going to move you guys over here so I can see you. Ha-ha. Hello. All right, so take some time and finish your drawing and finish the painting that we started tonight. And then in this video, I would love for you to put pictures of what you did tonight with us. That would be so very awesome and cool. That's the end of our lesson tonight. I'm going to finish my painting after you guys are gone, and I'll put a picture of it in the comments also. I'm not going to finish all of the drawing though. I'm just telling you. So I hope you had fun tonight. I loved it. I'm Miss Jen at the Community Art Center. Don't forget, Color Pencil Zoom class Thursday at 6 o'clock. If you want to take this class, sign up for it. It's free. And I'll send you the Zoom invitation, because then I get to see your faces and talk and all of that stuff. So thanks for joining us. This is Jen at the Community Arts Center. Be kind and God bless you. Bye.